Well, good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Gosh, I am so excited to be here tonight. We have a fantastic show planned for everybody, and I have my good friend, Mr. Greg Smith of Backwoods Cryptids here in the studio tonight. I got to meet Greg, I think it was last year, back at the East Tennessee Squatch Out, hosted by Manimal Research. We actually camped out right beside each other with his wonderful wife. Gosh, Kelsey, I had to talk to Kelsey tonight before the show. And we had a great time. He is a true boots on the ground cryptid field researcher out of North Georgia. And last weekend, y'all, we had Kenny Starfox on the show, and we talked about some of the werewolf reports all over Georgia. And tonight, I actually have a field researcher who has taken Dogman reports and has had some Dogman knows people that have had sightings. He's had a lot of cryptid experience, y'all, but all over Northwest Georgia, up towards Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Chickamauga battleground. And Greg's been on the show before. We talked about old green eyes up in Chickamauga. Tonight, we're talking about Dogman reports and sightings, and it's going to blow your socks off, y'all. And Greg's always fun to have on the show. So you guys buckle up. We're going to go down. I'm going to say we're going to go down a rabbit hole, kind of, but it's really this is just in your face, hardcore report data. Okay. And experiences and encounters. So this is going to be awesome. It's great to have the reports given to us and then to have a boots on the ground aspect of it as well. So that's what we're doing tonight. And so, yes, it makes us unique over here because that's how I roll, y'all. And I hope everybody is having a great weekend and happy Easter, y'all. The Easter Bunny is coming tonight. Okay, so I am super excited about that. I hope if my son was good, the Easter Bunny will come tonight and leave him some candy tomorrow, hopefully. And I hope all of you boys and girls have been good, and the Easter Bunny comes to see y'all too. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows and everything, I'm going to put everything up on the ticker tonight down here. All my social media links and everything can be found on my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find an archive of all of my shows from days past and weeks past and years past. You can find it all there. As well as my Patreon links are there, and my shop is called War Woman Goods. And I do have a shop on my website as well, if you guys would like to check out the goods. Okay, so thank you guys so much for all your support. And I want to also invite you to become a member of the Hunt Club. That is the membership here on my YouTube channel. If you would like to become a member, I do put exclusive content out there, and I try to put a new video up every week for my members over there. So thank you guys so much for being a member. All the support really blows me away, and I really appreciate all of it from the bottom of my heart. And also, I do offer intuitive readings as well if you guys are interested. It's not remote viewing, okay? So it's not remote viewing, but it is intuitive readings, and you can find those on my website as well if you guys would like one of those. I just finished up a couple of those today. I mailed one of them out and emailed one out, and I've got another one heading out tonight. So thank you all for all your support with that. Okay, well, let's get to our show tonight because I know Greg is chomping at the bit to get out here with me tonight. We just talked right before the show, and it was really wild because I got a message from our friend Kenny Starfox, and we had no prior knowledge that we were both going to have Greg on our shows today. So this is awesome. So Greg is in high demand today. Okay. And I'm assuming Kenny might've gotten word that Greg was out there where all these werewolf reports are. But like I said, we haven't told, we just messaged back and forth. So so shout out to Star Fox. Thank you for being here last week. And let's get this show on the road. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, so we're going to be talking about, like I said, the Dogman reports up in Northwest Georgia, and we're going to get a boots on the ground exclusive from Greg of Backwoods Cryptids. Okay. Greg Smith grew up in the backwoods of a small Northwestern Georgia town called Chickamauga. He was raised on hunting and fishing, so he was always out in the woods, and he developed an interest in cryptids thanks to the old TV show Unsolved Mysteries, which would show segments about unknown creatures like Bigfoot, Mothman, and other creatures, which got him hooked on cryptozoology. He would often watch and read anything he could find on the subject, and upon gaining access to the internet and becoming mobile, he was open up to the world of cryptids. By this time, there were many more shows on this subject. And at some point, he created his team. It was called Backwoods Cryptids. He gave this team, I love this, he gave his team that name because this is a quote. He's a backwoods son of a bitch. I love that, Greg. And is out there in the woods looking for cryptid creatures. So you guys can find him on his YouTube channel. It's called Backwoods Cryptids on YouTube. So please help me welcome to the show my good buddy, Mr. Greg Smith.
How's it going, everybody? The mask is just for a gag because we are talking about Dogman and Wolfman, so why not?
You that was terrifying, Greg. Terrifying. I appreciate that. Gosh, Greg, it's so good to see you again. Thank you for being here tonight.
I'm glad to be back. I've always had a good time on your show because no one knows where we're going to go. It's a rabbit hole of what?
Exactly. Well, you and I are both boots on the ground field researchers. We love getting out in the field and just, going wherever our intuition leads us, right? And wherever the cryptids lead us. So
I want to start out like you saying Happy Easter to all the kids who may be watching. Hope you've been good. Tomorrow, don't forget to brush your teeth after you eat all that candy. You don't want to look like this, do you?
Oh my God, Greg. You are wild. You are wild. This is a perfect Saturday night show, y'all. Perfect Saturday night. Down here from Georgia, straight from Georgia. Greg and I are both broadcasting live from Georgia, from Northwest and West Georgia. Okay. So, gosh, I love you, Greg. You and Kelsey are the best. And it was great getting to hang out with you guys in person at the East Tennessee Squatch Out with Wayne Tothrow over at Manimal Research and all that crowd.
Tothrow.
I say Tothrow. Oh, okay. I always mispronounce everything. Everybody knows that.
I mispronounced the first time I tried to say it too. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, shout out to Wayne. Okay, shout out to Wayne. Thank you for having all of us over there at that event.
And of course, Mr. Walls, who's the co-founder of Manimal.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to everybody. And okay, I want to start off by saying thank you to Larry Sharp for that super sticker. Thank you so much, Larry. He says, happy Saturday and happy Easter, y'all, and prayers. Thank you for being here, Larry. Your support means the world to me. I appreciate you.
I'm going to throw this out there also before we get started too much. To anyone who has worn or is wearing that military uniform of any kind, thank y'all for y'all service. I'm a vet myself. So if y'all hadn't done y'all's part, I had never had a chance to do mine. So thank y'all. Much love.
Thank you for your service, Greg. I know not to get into what you did. It may be classified for all I know, but you had a very dangerous job in the military, and it was the bomb. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So,
you say that again.
it was something that I don't know if I have the nerves to do. The things that you do required you to have nerves of steel, and so I suspected that maybe that's how you got into cryptid field research and stuff, because you really have to. I'm a proponent of having your mind right when you go out in the field, and, and having a calm demeanor.
Anytime you go in the woods, you gotta be that way, because we're not the apex predator out there.
No, we're not.
I mean, forget the stuff that we look for. What was the known stuff? Bears, lions, tigers. Oh my!
Yeah, big old cats. Okay, big old cats and snakes, things like that. We have to take precautions on everything. Like, I'm actually more worried about that kind of stuff than I am Bigfoot when I go out there. right?
Yep.
We're more likely to come across a snake than we are a Bigfoot jumping
Like
out
where I
front of
live,
us.
I can get them in my truck if I leave the windows down.
Oh yeah,
That
oh my
happened
God.
one time. I had a timber rattler in my truck because I left the window down.
No way.
Yes,
That's horrible. What happened? How did you get it out?
Work. I called into work, told him, hey, I'm going to be late. There's a rattlesnake in my truck. I know I didn't sound like Woody from Toy Story.
How did you get that snake out, Greg?
Well, I waited until it got light out because at the time, it was, when I get up in the morning to go to work, this is back when I worked at a chicken plant, processing plant. And I waited until it got light out. I went and I grabbed the old gopher, the grabbers. Got that, grabbed it by the back of the head, got it out, and boom!
Oh, I shouldn't have asked.
Well, I had to because there's also small children in the area.
Oh, yeah.
I
understand.
Yes. And if I had time to take it back to the woods, I would have just put it in just a pillowcase like this one here, tossed it in, wrapped it up, tied it in a knot like you've seen Steve Irwin do 100 times on his shows.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, well, when I was a kid, I lived on a lake as well. I lived on a lake, and we had a lot of water moccasins. And we actually had a timber rattler. My brother stepped over a timber rattler when he was a kid. He and my sister and my mom were down by the water, and that was pretty scary. Okay, that's pretty scary. Nobody got hurt, but when he was a little baby, he was a toddler. He had wandered outside in between the garage and the house, and my mom saw him walking out towards the garage, and she saw him bend down to pick something up. She realized it was a gigantic snake, and she panicked and she beat on the window. She didn't have time to really get my dad's attention. My dad heard her, picked him up, and let's just say he went out there and did what you did. Okay, my brother did not get hurt. Okay, but the snake did not survive that incident, y'all. Okay, I'm just saying.
Well,
and,
again,
and sometimes you got to do that.
Well, I will say this. If you have a chance and you know what you're doing, if you know how to handle these creatures, try to release it back in the wild. Because really, we're stepping on their home. Animals were here before man, even in the Bible.
That's right. Yes, we should never harm something if it's not that hasn't hurt us. Okay, but of course, my brother was small. My mom and dad had three young kids. I was a little kid too. I'm the oldest. Okay, if y'all can't tell, I got that oldest child syndrome here. I'm always in charge and whatever. I don't know what the stereotypes are really, but
that's so many.
Yeah, right. But nonetheless, I learned to respect wildlife at a very young age, just like you, Greg. And I know you're a hunter. And exactly how did you? I know I read the intro for you before I brought you up tonight, and it said that you watched like Unsolved Mysteries, all these different shows, stuff like I watched. Okay, and that's how you got into it. But like, did you have an encounter with like a cryptid, a Bigfoot, or did you hear weird stuff when you were a kid because you were out in the woods so much? How did you really get into all this?
Honestly, my small neck of woods, I've heard stuff, but I always just knocked it up. I'd find a way to trace it back to a known animal. But I always thought that was more out there because there's new discoveries being made every day. I even do that at a young age. And then, like I said, I watched Unsolved. Like you read them, I've watched Unsolved Mysteries and heard all about the Bigfoot and the Megalodon, all this kind of stuff. The Georgia Raptor.
Oh yeah, the Georgia Raptor. Actually, I used to think that was up in North Georgia, like where you live, but it's actually down in Middle Georgia, like more towards the troop herd corridor, where I do I do research all over the state. Okay, but that area is a place where I go often. And well,
if you ever go raptor hunting, let me know. I'm game.
Okay, I will listen. I know who my ride or dies are. I know who my real dogs are. And if I have something like that goes down, I will definitely holler at you. Okay. And
if I'm not busy working, keeping the paycheck coming in, I'll be there.
I'll be like, Greg, don't ask questions. Just get down here. Here's the address. Don't tell anybody. Here's the code word. Yeah, well, we need to get a code word or something. We're like, hey, head down. And yes, GR, Georgia Raptor. Okay. But nonetheless, it's, that's what we live for. And I love it. It's a lot of fun what we do. And
Yes,
so
you
yeah,
do. And I would never have met you if I hadn't have started.
that's right. That's right. Same
I would have
ditto.
never met Jasper Walls. I would have never met Wayne Tithero. I would have never got a chance to talk to people like Star Fox.
Oh yeah, Kenny. That's right. Kenny was here
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
was.
You did. You were in the chat, and so I was like, okay. I kept thinking, I got to get Greg on the show. We got to get Greg back on here because we've got all these reports. You know, he and I went over a bunch of reports out of Georgia. The majority of these reports of dogmen and werewolves are up in North Georgia, where you live, and this is your research area. And so I wanted to get your opinion on all that.
Well, the only actual report I have come across is 3 years old now.
Okay.
And it literally happened super close to my house at Cloudland Canyon State Park. I'm
Cloudland.
30. Yes.
Cloudland. My mother used to live there. That's
yeah,
where
I'm
she lived when
30
she was
minutes
little.
from there.
Okay.
And
tell me what happened.
Well, I don't have the whole story printed out, and I can't pull up on the phone without going out of this, so I'm not going to do that. But basic of it is this older couple was camping out. They had their dog with them. Dog started acting a little, what's the word? Spooked.
Okay.
And then they all got in the tent, and then they noticed something coming around their campsite. The man went out and checked it out. I can't remember how he scared it off, but he got scared off. And he said, pack your things. We're leaving now. It scared him completely out of there.
Oh, man.
And that's the only report I found. And that is literally, like I said, right up at Cloudland Canyon. That direction from me, 30 minutes in that direction.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so it's not too often then that you've heard about a lot of dogman sightings up there then.
Correct.
I was thinking that it might have been something that was more recent. See, the ones that, but that's good. So that actually shows a history of there being dogman reports up there.
Yes. Now, ever since I read that report, I've been trying to find more desperately. I mean, as you know, I've done green eyes. I still do green eyes investigations when I get reports. I do the Bigfoot stuff. But yes. I'm not wanting to close myself off to those two. I want to do all cryptids I come across.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Well, that's what
I've been working
anything that comes across your path.
Yeah, I mean, like Chatsworth, Georgia, just down the road from me by an hour. The Moon-eyed people, their forts right there. Yes.
Have you ever encountered any Moon-eyed people?
Not yet, but I've not really done much research into them until we got a book that my wife got me called Georgia Cryptids.
I saw that. Okay, I saw that book. You sent me a picture of you holding it, but that's a great book. I actually just spoke at the Georgia Bigfoot conference recently, and I did an overview of all the main cryptids that have been sighted out of Georgia, including the Georgia Raptor. Old Green Eyes is still one of my favorites out of all of them. And you are my resident Old Green Eyes expert. Okay, even though we still don't really know what it is, right?
Well, I've come up with some theories here lately.
Okay.
I've narrowed it down to 3 possible creatures.
Okay,
S-Walker.
S-Walker. Okay, we know what that is, y'all.
Bigfoot. Or a Dogman or werewolf. Some kind of a bipedal canid creature.
Yes.
Now, the reason I say S-Walker, if you look at all the different, I mean, there's so many varying descriptions. The only thing that can contribute to that is an S-Walker.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Can you kind of tell the audience to give a little history about what the Old Green Eyes, the story is behind it?
Okay, well, let's go all the way back to the earliest known sighting I have found during the Civil War.
Okay.
The first account I have come across was these. I can't remember which side, if it was Union or the Confederates. I cannot remember which side of the field they were on, but they went scouting out trying to recover some of the remains of their dead. And these scouts, they were out looking, and they came across this creature, bipedal. And it had fangs protruding from the bottom jaw. If I had to compare it to anything that we see on TV nowadays, think of it like an orc off the, what was that game called?
Oh, like a mountain giant or something that had the fangs that come out from the bottom jaw, right?
Yeah, like that.
Right.
And then it had the smell of rotting meat on its breath and the green eyes. Well, that's one thing that's constant about every description is those same green eyes. Those, yes, like that.
Glowing eyes.
Yes. Now, that report, and then they, in fear, ran back to camp, reported everything they'd seen to their commanding officer. The commanding officer went out there, couldn't find nothing. And then later, during this battle of Chickamauga, the same creature was seen eating the corpses of the fallen soldiers from both sides.
Now, Greg, was there any description of what it looked like? Because some people, okay, so you've established that you believe, and I agree with you. It could be either a Dogman, a Bigfoot, or an S-Walker. Okay, there's also like the kind of gray area of like a Bigfoot, a Dogman, or a Gugway, right? And some people think it might have been a Gugway, which is like a snouted nose Bigfoot kind of.
I've had to throw that one out because of some of the evidence I found. I found tree structures that are like modern day Bigfoots in the park.
Wow.
Two of them. One of them was pretty much just almost a perfect pyramid of old logs, just lined up perfect like a pyramid. Not like a pyramid, but like a teepee.
Wow.
And then the other one was the strangest one I think I've seen yet. There's a big log. I mean, so big I could not get my hands around this thing. And I'm a pretty long-armed guy. You know that.
Yeah.
And this thing was knocked over, and inside the trunk that was still standing, it was jammed down into the cracks of the wood.
Oh, my gosh.
And there's other branches and from other trees and logs from other trees leaned up on this thing, kind of like a lean-to.
Oh my goodness!
And now right across the road from where that was, we have found footprints.
Oh wow! So
and
Bigfoot footprints.
Also the Chickamauga Creek, which right there, that's food source and water source. And of course, the battlefield has its there. But as for descriptions, there's a lot of them. One of them describes him as a creature, as a floating head with those eyes looking for his body. That's what people think it's a ghost. Other descriptions, they've described a creature covered in hair. Sometimes they say it has a snout. Sometimes they say it don't. One story I heard on, what was that podcast? Midnight something. Can't remember the name of the podcast. I'm sorry to whoever the podcaster is. But you do have a good show. I can't remember the whole name of it, though. But
shout out to whoever you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this guy was back in the 60s was driving from Corpsewood, Georgia to Chickamauga, because that was the main road to get to from one town to the next was going straight to that park. And this creature ran him off the road, got on top of the hood of his car. About this time, here come the park rangers because someone had reported the wreck, and this creature ran off. And they just talked up that this guy was in shock.
Ooh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So what I'm taking from this, from what you're saying, is that there's a variety of descriptions of what Old Green Eyes is.
Yes.
So it could be pretty much anything, or it could be multiple creatures. Of course, it sounds like there's multiple creatures, and they're all being clumped in as like one creature, which is Old Green Eyes. But really, to me, what I heard you say were Dogman creatures, Bigfoot creatures, ghosts, and dark ancient entities, probably like old entities or some kind of S-Walker.
Yeah, because one of my it's even on my show where an actual pastor named Neil Davis, good friend of mine, he came on with his thoughts of what if Green Eyes is a demon, and he even was reading scripture to back up his theory.
Ooh, well, dang, I would agree with that. I could definitely get behind that theory. Because it does sound demonic. Okay, if it's out there eating the corpses, it's kind of like, I don't want to say cannibalistic because we don't think it's like a human eating humans, right? It's just something that's eating the bodies. Yeah. I mean, some people, okay, like I've talked to people who think that maybe it's not that it's anything evil, but it's just something that was almost like a vulture. You know how vultures are? Yeah. They go and they take care of the waste. Yeah. They're it's almost like sanitizing, the battlefield out there. They're taking away the dead bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
And
that was food on Snodgrass Hill, which I'm looking to find if I can get him to come on my show. a guy who's going to tell us the history of Snodgrass Hill itself as far as the battle, and I'm going to get his take on the whole things about Green Eye itself.
Oh, wow.
Because anyone who does this stuff, you're going to have your skeptics. You got to listen to them too. Don't just throw them out the way because they don't believe.
That's
because
right.
some information they might have, no matter how small, could be the key you need to prove him wrong.
That's right. That's 100% right. Yes. Maureen, thank you so much for that super sticker. She says, Happy Easter, everyone. Sending you all love from Gus and Maureen. Thank you. Happy Easter to you and Gus. My little Gussie bunny, my little pug bunny. He's so cute. Yeah. Okay. So, wow. So everybody, for the people that you've talked to, pretty much all have different ideas of what it is too. Now, my first thoughts when I've done research on old green eyes, I have done a remote viewing target of old green eyes before in the past, and I believe that it could be something more like a gugway. In my opinion, it's either like an ancient entity of some sort, or I'm going to say a gugway. That's just what I think. Or it could be a Dogman too, or it could be a shapeshifter, right?
Yeah, but the reason I add Dogman to my 3 prime suspects, one time I was out there with Walls from Bigfoot, Jasper Walls from Bigfoot and Things. He lives super close to me, so me and him always, when we can, we do go out together. Just because it's 2 different heads, maybe we can brainstorm. And we found marks of I can't even spread my fingers apart that far, where something that went on a log that was almost petrified log and scratched. You can see 5 distinct, like a human hand, a large human hand just went scratched across it.
Now, Greg, do you guys have bears up there? Is there a big bear population? Hey,
there's bears up here, but I mean they're black bears, and plus they can't do those kind of scratches. Trust me, I looked at that first off. I've been in the woods long as no bear scratch.
Oh yeah. You know what? Hey Mark Green is in the chat. What's up, Mark? And I talked with Mark, kind of messaged with him last week, and he was telling me that he had actually heard about that werewolf report out of Rome. Okay. And a lot of people had heard about that. The one that I was talking about last week on the show on Saturday night with Kenny Star Fox.
Yeah.
We were talking about that. And that is something that a lot of the locals have heard about before. Had you heard about that case?
No, I have not. I was about to ask you about that case because as soon as you start talking about areas close to me, my ears went beep like a daggum dog.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, well, I do have, so I'm going to show everybody a map. I kind of pulled it up a while ago with no explanation.
Yeah.
Now this is Chickamauga. This is where Greg lives. Okay, this is his research area. It's directly south of Chattanooga, Tennessee. If you guys want to see a map of, this is the southeast right here. He and I both live in Georgia. I'm just a little bit south of him, where that red dot is right there. That's actually Rome. Okay, but Chickamauga is just north of Rome, right, Greg?
Yeah, it's I think maybe an hour and a half drive. Not that far.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a map of Chickamauga. Here's a map of Rome. Okay. So it is just a little bit south of Chickamauga here. Also, we're going to talk briefly about the werewolf report out of Dalton, which is right here by Chickamauga too. So I want to pull up all 3 of those maps.
I work in Dalton as one of my day jobs. So that one really caught my interest.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, so all this hits home for you. And so I can see why. First of all, you might have a little bit of concern over this, because this is pretty wild when there's all these werewolf and Dogman reports from up there. You had one from 3 years ago, so we've already established that there probably are some Dogmen in that area.
Well, that also shows as a breeding population.
A breeding population, yeah, exactly.
Because
they've been there that long.
Yeah, if they've been there that far back and then they spread out, that's got to be a breeding population.
Oh yeah. Totally. And they've been there for some while now. And we still don't even know what old green eyes is. And there have been people who have reported him as probably being a Dogman or a gugway or something like that.
Yep.
So we got to take that into account too.
Yes, we do.
So that's up there. Have you, so you've mostly encountered like Bigfoots up there, right? Not too many Dogmen yourself?
I've encountered Bigfoot, possible Chupacabra, and whatever the heck gold green eyes is.
So the Appalachian Chupacabra, I actually did a show on that.
Well, yeah, I think you told me about that when I told you about when we was at the camp out. This before I started doing my YouTube show, I was just piddling into the field. I just dipping my toes into the water.
Yeah.
And buddy of mine was working with at the time. I was working at Roper, which is the main place that makes the stoves around here.
Uh-huh.
He told me about his grandpa had chicken farm, had some weird stuff going on with. He finding chickens that could have been insanguinated, which means no more blood in the body.
What? You said that happened to the chickens?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I found some weird canine-looking footprints that had only 3 toes.
3 toes.
Yeah.
My goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, well that's good. That sets the stage for what we're about to talk about then. Okay, so let's talk about the one in Rome real quick. Okay, this is just kind of a recap. I'm going to do a brief recap of what we talked about last week
Cool.
for tonight because Greg is here, and for anybody who just tuned in, because I know we got more people that came in since I did the intro today. Greg is with Backwoods Cryptids, and he is a boots-on-the-ground field investigator and researcher out of the area where these werewolf reports were from that we talked about last week. Okay, so we're getting Greg's opinion. We're getting his input on this tonight. So back on May the 1st of 2023, a family had just moved into Rome, a rural area out in the country, in Floyd County. They had a family gathering with friends, and the kids were playing out in the yard. The dad got on, he must have got on a side-by-side or a four-wheeler or something, went to go check his game cams that he had placed around the property. And when he got to the first one, it was ripped off the tree and had bite marks in it. Okay. And so he kind of, I'm not gonna say he panicked, but he went back to where his kids were and said, "Hey, y'all come back with me. Let's figure out what this is." And they went out there, and when they were looking and gathering up the other cameras, they were confronted. They encountered a 7 to 9 foot tall black shaggy werewolf, a werewolf-like creature with red glowing eyes, and it started growling at them. They took off running, and one of the kids tripped and fell, and the werewolf attempted to grab him. It actually grabbed him by the neck, is what they said. And it held him up, and it let out a scream as it was holding the kid up in the air. And they said that it opened its jaws like it was about to eat him. And the dad got his shotgun and blasted it and shot it. I think it hit its shoulder. Okay. And it dropped the kid. It started coughing up blood, and it had a hole in its shoulder. The animal sprinted off into the woods, and the boys and the men ran back to the house. They heard loud shrieking and howling from multiple creatures in the woods after that happened. And then all night they watched numerous creatures in the woods pacing back and forth. And that's, I don't have a whole lot of other information other than that. I did ask Star Fox last week. I was like, "Did you get an update?" He said no. But multiple people in the community had heard about the story before and heard about that encounter. As a matter of fact, I was going to go into that area today. My mom went up there, and she was like, "Hey, I'm actually drinking. Look, I'm actually drinking water from Cave Spring tonight. This is a glass of water from the spring. You can go take like empty jugs, and you fill them with from that natural spring right there at the cave."
Yeah,
and, I've got Cave Spring water. Do what?
The Native Americans believe that particular spring had healing properties.
Well, I'm getting healed, y'all. It's a healing water kind of night, okay? I can definitely use it. I already feel good. I'm energized, okay? That's my secret. So if you guys are wondering why I'm so, this is awesome juice right here, okay?
Yeah, I got my code red, the official drink of Zombieland.
You got the Zombieland juice. I've got the cave water spring juice right here tonight. And it's just water that came. And my mom was so sweet. She was sweet enough to take some of I had a bunch of empty jugs and stuff, and she took them up there and got the water for us. I didn't end up going, though, and I feel bad because I wanted to go up to Cave Spring, and then she went up to Rome today. And she has her first cousin lives over there by Taylor's Ridge.
Okay.
And so that's where I'm pretty sure this werewolf incident happened around that area. Okay. Around the Taylor Ridge area. Our good friend, Tony Green, who's been on my show, is one of my teammates. He had a fantastic encounter, like an incredible encounter with a gigantic Bigfoot out there back in the 1980s. Ooh. And that's what got him hooked on Bigfoot was back then. in the 80s. So lots of high-strangeness. Greg, what's going on up there around Cloudland and Taylor's Ridge?
Well, I don't know about Taylor's Ridge. I haven't been down there yet.
Okay.
But focusing again on trying to find more closer to me, because I work 2 jobs now and I still make time for this. And I'm saying that because if y'all have a passion for something, y'all, you're going to make time for it. I don't care how busy your day-to-day life is.
Yeah.
So,
You gotta make time for your things you're passionate about. And yeah, it's like me doing these shows and stuff. Like I love it. Okay, I love it. I have made a lot of sacrifices to do what I do today.
Next weekend. Okay.
That's Mark. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, do us a favor. If you find anything interesting, send pictures to us, man.
Yeah. I'll get you in touch with Greg, Mark, if you'd like. Okay. Greg is my resident expert in the Chickamauga area up there for sure. And not too far. And that actually includes also Corpsewood Manor. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my God. Up there. And there's Dogman sightings around there too, Greg. Dogman and werewolf sightings. And Bigfoot.
Yeah, that place, Jessica, you know me. I don't fear much. But
No,
that place scares the crap out of me.
That place?
Every time I go there, I get this creepy feeling. I kind of want to go home and bathe in holy water after being in that place.
It's not a pleasant place to go. And speaking of like demonic stuff, and for the audience to get kind of an idea of what we're talking about, I bring this up. I've brought it up a lot, okay? Because I've done research there. My team went out there back about 12 years ago, 11 or 12 years ago, maybe.
Okay. If I'd known you back then, I'd have joined you.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but we got out there. Greg, the place was covered in blood.
The funny thing about that, I heard you talking about that. Back then, I was working security at the local hospital up here. That guy came to the hospital.
that hit his leg with the axe?
Yes.
His thigh?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, isn't that wild? I've got this angle of it, and you got that angle of it.
Yes.
That's crazy. Okay, what do you remember what happened? Did he tell you what happened?
He said that they were cutting wood, and he went to do a big swing on this because it wouldn't break, and he caught him in the thigh right there.
Yep.
And he said if it hadn't been for them, he'd probably bled out right there. He dang near did.
Yes. Well, it looked like a herd of elephants. Literally, that's what JT said. One of my teammates, he was like, it looks like a herd of elephants ran through here, right here. And we could see it because we were trying to figure out where all this blood had come from. And when I say there was a lot of blood, I mean there was a lot of blood, Greg. A lot. It wasn't like a few drops.
Sure. I mean, he had a hat go through his thigh.
Yeah, it looked like someone had been unalived, as we say on YouTube, right there. And it didn't help the matter that there were, it looked like rituals had been done there, and we were kind of hoping it was chicken blood. There were pictures of people. Obviously, people were putting hexes on people there, and God knows what. It was just dirty. To me, it just felt really dirty there. But there was all that blood, and you could tell that people ran in a hurry to get out of there, like a big group of people.
Yeah.
And of course, we're all trained extensively in tracking and stuff, so you could tell, and there were leaves everywhere, so everything was. I mean, it was just a train wreck through there, is what it was.
Yeah.
And then that lady, his mother, contacted our team after she saw our videos on YouTube. The head of the team, he used to put some videos of us on YouTube back in the day. They're all gone now, but they used to be on there, and of some of our expeditions and stuff, and that was one of them. And she contacted him and said, hey, that was my son. And I got to tell you, Greg, when I was given that as like a remote viewing target, like the land there as a remote viewing target. And I kept hearing, I kept hearing the land requires blood.
Now, it's funny you say that because me and Jasper Walls, again, if I go out with anyone, it's usually him here lately because he's just down the road from me.
Yeah.
We've been there a few times. And even he had said something about the lands wanting blood.
Yeah, that's wild.
But that was right there on site. At that point, I'm like, okay, everybody, to the truck, let's go.
Yeah. It was the whole main part of that target. It felt like the land required blood.
Say that back. Did someone just ask what type of tobacco I'm smoking?
I don't know if that was directed at you or not. That was Bigfoot dwarf. He was wondering. Show everybody.
Okay, while I'm holding these up, I'm going to say for the kids watching, no.
Don't do it, kids.
Because trust me, kids, I wish I could quit, and this is the hardest habit to break in the world right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. PSA, everybody. Okay. Kent, I hope you're feeling better. I just saw your message before I went live tonight, and I know I'm glad you're here tonight. Let's just say I'm just glad you're here. Okay. Thank you for being here, Kent. We've missed you. Okay. Okay. So, Greg, this is so cool though. Like, I've got this whole angle from like us seeing what happened and having and like being there in the moment and like seeing all the blood and everything at Corpsewood, and then knowing that that lady contacted the head of my team, said that was my son, that he had an accident, and then you were working at the hospital. What are the odds of this? That you actually were there and you know all about that?
You know what this makes me think of is a Christian movie called Do You Believe?
Okay.
It's how all these people's lives tie in to this one little church, and they had never met each other.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how events, they can be separated miles apart like me and you are, and one little event can connect them. Yeah.
That's what this is. And it's all connected to Corpsewood Manor up in Tryon, Georgia, which is right here in the middle of all these places where we've had all these werewolf sightings and stuff. So
yeah, if you ever go up there again,
yep, Rome, Dalton, and Chickamauga.
That's right. World's got some kind of a psychic. I want to say psychic or some kind of metaphysical attack on him. It tried to take him over.
At Corpsewood, it did?
Yes. Now, me being me, I prepare for warfare both physically, spiritually, and mentally, but mostly spiritually and physically because that's how we fight.
Right.
I had my I had a friend of mine. He was a Catholic. He didn't make it home, and I have his rosary. I keep it with me.
From the military when you guys were overseas?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, it happens. We knew what we were signing up for. I hate to say it that way, but that's honestly the truth. We knew we were signing up for that. But I keep, when I'm going out in the field, it's in my truck right now, actually. But I had it tied on my belt, kind of like, you ever watched the Hellboy movie with Ron Perlman? How he tied Professor Broom's rosary onto his belt?
Yes. Yeah.
I did that with it. This thing took over Walls. I grabbed Rawls, said a quick prayer, and I pulled him back, and he snapped out of it.
Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness! Okay, well we gotta be really careful about going to places that are that dark. Okay, and when I say dark, that place is dark. Like there's
dark
homicide there, right? If you count the dogs.
Yeah, but there's dark and then there's flat out evil. Because let's look at I'm not saying what happened to those gentlemen was deserved. No one deserves that. But let's look at what they were. Who knows what portals of darkness they could have opened?
They were Satanists. Yes. Yeah, I know. I hate talking about dark stuff on such a holy night tonight. Tomorrow's Easter, you know.
I know, but you know what?
I hate bringing that up, but we got to shine the light on it, right?
Yeah. You can't have darkness without the light. You can't have light without the darkness.
Correct. Yes. I agree. Tanya Groover, thank you so much for that super sticker. That is so sweet of you. She says, sticker war. Who's going to join me?
No, okay. I'm not familiar with these stickers. What do these stickers do? I'm just curious.
Those are where people give like donations to the channel right there.
Oh, cool,
and support. It's support for the channel. Yeah.
Awesome.
And super, super amazing. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, it's a great way to show support, and it's super appreciated. They call them super stickers.
My wife wants to chime in on something here, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
All right, honey, go ahead.
This is Kelty. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show, Kelsey.
He's the one who got me off my butt finally.
You're welcome.
Hey, Kelsey.
I was actually there that night when Walls got attacked at Corpsewood, and you could just feel the evil off of it.
Really? Well, have you ever been attacked over there? Do you feel anything yourself?
Mentally, yeah, but nothing left marks on me or nothing, but
yeah,
it was bad. And about the technology, I'm still trying to teach him.
Kelsey, well, can I ask Kelsey a question? Kelsey, would you go back to Corpsewood?
I'm sort of still doing research on it, but I'm down for it.
Maybe we should plan a trip sometime. Maybe I'll go with
I'm
you.
down.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Okay.
Coming in.
Yes. Well, thank you, Kelsey. Yeah. Well, I think that going during the daytime is completely different than going at nighttime. I've been in both.
Yes.
And the daytime it's actually beautiful, and the nighttime it's not.
The way I describe it is literally, I got reference a popular show right now called Stranger Things. I know everyone's heard of this show.
Yes.
It's like being in the real world, and then at nighttime it turns into the upside down, for Pete's sake.
It is upside down. And it's actually based off the Montauk Project. And I'm friends with a lot of the survivors from that program. Actually, I actually went to Montauk last year, Greg. I went what they based Stranger Things off of. I went there.
Oh, I'm jealous.
No, don't be jealous. It's actually really sad. It's actually really sad from the things that they did to people. And
oh, I know. I'm sad because I didn't get to go put my spiritual thoughts into the place.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool being there. But places like that open up portals, and they were purposely opening up portals at Montauk.
I think that's what these guys down at. I think that's what these guys down here were doing in a different way. They weren't trying to use technology like Montauk. I think they're trying to do a spiritual version of that.
They were. Now, okay, tell me, is it true that Anton LaVey came down there too? And I don't know. I know you weren't there, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I know you've heard the rumors. Is it true that Anton LaVey went down there and showed them where to put their home? That's
the stories I've heard, but I can even reference that. He actually, if you look up the Church of Satanism online, both Joseph Scudder and his partner are mentioned on their website.
Yeah.
So that to me confirms they were Satanists.
They're on the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey's website?
They're mentioned, yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to look that up after the show tonight. I'm going to look that up after the show. I didn't know that. So they were associated with him then in real life.
Yes.
How do you think it would have been back then in the 1980s? Driving around with
a Bible Belt, and they were homosexual. Again, nothing against homosexuality. Like my mother-in-law, I've been watching Mama Julie, love you. But back in those days, that was a big taboo, especially in this part of the country.
Yeah,
I mean, they've literally harmed people and unalive people just because of that being liking the same gender.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's where I was kind of going with that. I was like, what? How would they have been taken back then by the community? Because they say that actually Charles Scudder was a kind of, I'm not going to say a pillar of the community, but he was an upstanding citizen over there. But they just had a flamboyant lifestyle, kind of, if you know what I mean.
But it was also confirmed that him, Dr. Joseph Scudder, and his partner were actually in a relationship. Yeah, they were, and I think that's ultimately what led to the demise was like the parties they had there and the drugs that were involved, and only in part.
Yeah.
The whole thing boils down to they thought they had money because they had that big mansion in the woods. Problem is, all the money had already been spent building the place and buying the land.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I talk a lot about ley lines, Greg. Okay. Ley lines are like a big thing. And before I go on my ley line talk here, I want to thank Kent. Kent, thank you so much. Says I was diagnosed with 4 kidney stones on my right side. So y'all know what to pray for. One of them is 7 millimeters. Ouch. Kent, I am so sorry. Oh my gosh.
Brother, I'll be praying for you, brother.
I'm sending you so much prayers and so much healing energy. I'm so sorry, Kent. Thank you for that support. I appreciate you so much. And everybody, send thoughts and prayers and all the best energy to Kent, y'all, please. And yes, keep us updated, Kent. Okay.
On the subject of that, just remember, folks, prayer with the power of prayer, you can move a mountain. It tells us that in the Bible. So send some prayers of healing to this man. Get him back on his feet.
Absolutely. Amen. Hallelujah. Yes, for sure, Kent. And thank you. So, okay, so ley lines. Let's get back to the ley lines because a lot of...
Didn't say there was one close right there?
Yes. Okay, I've got a map of the ley lines. Would you like to see it?
Yes. In fact, I was hoping you might send me a copy of it one day or give me a copy of it.
I will gladly do that. Okay, let me take down Kit's
Like a
comment.
physical
Thank you again,
copy.
Kit.
A physical copy, not one on the computer or on the phone. I mean, one I can put on the wall.
Okay, here we go. This is my picture of some of the major ley lines, and
All right.
and you guys, if you remember where we were up on the map, you look down there where it says it says in between Huntsville and Atlanta. If you can see that on the East Coast
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
Kind of up there, and there is a ley line that
Right
is
there.
just, I'm going to say it's just east of where you live. Okay, but it does
Yeah,
kind of
it's
cross over there.
actually, that's not. If you could zoom in, I know you can't on this because you're not doing the shared screen. That's actually a little bit closer than you think. That goes right through where Jacksboro Fall is, and they've had reports of a chupacabra that can climb up in trees like a monkey over there.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Well, there's also smaller ley lines as well, I believe. Okay, I think there's different ley lines, but here's the thing: if the land there requires blood, and we've got the Chickamauga battlefield, how far is the battlefield from the house?
From my house here? Oh, from Corpsewood
Manor.
Oh, that's a good long drive.
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Well,
they're in the directions from each other. From my house, I'm about an hour. Wouldn't you say an hour from Corpsewood, honey? And about 15 minutes from the park in the other direction.
okay.
So they're about an hour, I'll say hour and a half away.
About an hour. And it's kind of winding roads. So as far as a crow flies, it's probably a little less than an hour, but it's probably about that far. That's pretty okay. It's pretty, it's farther than I thought. Okay. But if the land requires blood there, and and that's at I'm going to say the battlefield where Old Green Eyes is. I mean, maybe the land requires blood over there too.
Well, yeah. I mean, Chickamauga itself comes from the Cherokee language, Chickamauga, River of Death. That's what this town's named after.
What is it called? River of what?
Death.
That's what Chickamauga means?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, and I live in that. So I live in the River of Death. Way to go.
Now, so they had named it that before the Civil War.
Yeah, that's what the natives called this land.
Oh gosh, look at that, y'all. That is wild. Okay, so the land does require blood.
Hey, my wife just pulled up how far the park is, driving wise.
Yeah.
40 from the battlefield, 44 minutes.
44 minutes. Okay. And it is up in the mountains, y'all. So it's like winding roads, all that kind of stuff too. So when I say as far as the crow flies, like if you were to fly from one point to the other, it's not as far. Okay.
No,
but it's still far.
Drive up there, make sure you got a good 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. Or just good tires on your truck. Okay. Yeah, well that's really wild. And to have Dogman reports up there, Werewolf reports up there. I mean, there was actually a Dogman report at a Dalton where you work.
Yeah, that's not my interest. Because when I turned in right about the point you start talking about Dalton with Ken, and that piqued my interest because I literally work I work at a carpet mill down there in Dalton called J&J. It used to be called J&J Floors, now it's called Engineer Floors.
Yeah, they make carpet, y'all. Okay, so Dalton is known as the carpet capital of the world, right, Greg?
Yep.
Okay, so they make a lot of carpet up there. And I've talked about that last weekend, I think. But it is very industrial, right? Like an industrial kind of town.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's carpet mill. You're in Dalton, you can throw a stone and hit a carpet mill.
Yes, and so, but it's just a whole bunch of industrial buildings mostly. I mean, it's a nice town as well. Dalton's a beautiful place. I had one of my commissioners live there actually back when I worked for the Women's Commission.
Oh,
and
cool.
Yeah, and so shout out to Margaret. Okay, but anyways, but it'd be a great place with a lot of resources. Okay, and so I think it'd be rich in cryptids, honestly, because there's just a whole bunch of industrial buildings. It's not a whole lot of. It's not like an urban city or anything. You know what I mean? Like it's out in the country.
It's kind of
by my standards.
Half urbanized, half rural.
Okay, it's right off the interstate, right?
Yeah, and then right there's Chatsworth right next to them, and that's mostly like small town, rural area.
Okay, where are we going with this? Dalton. Here we go. So Dalton is just a little bit east of Chickamauga up there, and it's still right there south of Chattanooga. Okay, let me read this one about Dalton. Do you want me to read this report real quick so you can hear it?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a man driving home and he saw what he thought was a werewolf standing in the middle of the road about 20 yards ahead of him. He hit his brakes, threw it in reverse as he heard a strange howling sound. He said that he drove home and he ran in the house. He locked the door, looked out the window, and was horrified to see the same werewolf standing in his yard. It stayed there until it got bored and it left. It got bored. He said it looked like it got bored and then it left. I mean, I don't think I would have slept a wink that night, and I would have called the cops probably if I was him.
I know it's going to sound nuts for me, but I sleep with a gun next to me, so bring it on.
Yeah, no. Well, a lot of people. There's a lot of people that would have probably taken that action right away, right if they walked in their house and they saw that out there. You know, a lot of people would have. We do live in Georgia, so that's something.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I mean, most people with my background, you see something you don't understand and you don't think it's a threat. My first thought is, okay, it's a threat. I got to take it out because I got my family to worry about.
Yeah. Exactly. And I've got a young kid, so you know what? And if something's on your property, I'm just saying, you know, we are in the Appalachians, right, Greg? I mean, this is the heart of the Appalachians.
Part of Appalachia. It's about the southern part, most southern part of Appalachia you can get. This is where me and you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're even further south than me, so you're right there at the tail end of it.
I am. I'm at the very tail end. I'm right here by Alabama. I'm right at Alabama, like right where near Cheehaw and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and,
so you're at the tail end of the.
I'm at the tail end. I'm at the tail bottom. I'm at the very bottom, tippy bottom. I don't know.
Yeah,
down here at the bottom.
I mean, if you dig in the news archives, you'll find there's been strange creatures, not just Dogman, Bigfoot, or the Appalachian Chupacabra. But there's been weird creature sightings from one end of the Appalachia all the way up to the other end.
Yeah.
And we live in that area, so they ain't no telling what's out there these days.
I know, right? That's why we got to keep our options open. That's why I'm the Cryptid Huntress and you're Backwoods Cryptids. I'm not just a Bigfooter. Not anymore. I started off being a Bigfoot field researcher, and I found out quickly that there's not just Bigfoots out there. It's everything, and I'm sure you.
I'm in the city of Atlanta, and in my family's garage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Let me read it for the audience because we got people that are listening on podcasts right now.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So, yeah, it's okay. Okay, the red tip savage. What's up? It says my Dogman report is from the city of Atlanta. In my family's garage carport in 1975 or close, they are not always in the woods. That's a good point. But my goodness, in Atlanta, of all places.
Yeah, Atlanta. Holy moly.
Yeah. Well, Atlanta is actually pretty large. And there's a lot. I've lived all over Atlanta. And I'm talking about downtown, Midtown West, Virginia Highlands.
You're brother to me. I couldn't live in big cities.
Little 5 Points, right outside of, like Decatur area. Atlanta's a big place, and actually there's a few people that watch my shows that have told me about their Bigfoot encounters in downtown Atlanta. Okay, and I don't know if y'all are all in here. I'm not gonna call you out, okay? But I know who y'all are.
Bigfoot sightings in downtown Atlanta.
Downtown Atlanta, yeah. City of Atlanta is downtown Atlanta, and that's what Red Tip Savage is saying. That's downtown Atlanta, and
wow.
It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. I mean, I've had several people that regularly watch my shows that have contacted me telling me about that.
Up, dude?
Hey, Flat Rock. Flat Rock's here. Hey, Flat Rock, please come on my show. I gotta get you on here too, okay? But yeah, Flat Rock's over in Alabama, and that's where I do a lot of my research too, is out in Alabama, because I'm right here at the bottom of the Appalachians.
While I got you on here, I want to ask you something because I think it connects to one of my locations. You mentioned you could see a portal somehow, or tell there's a portal there.
Yeah, we've documented one with my team. Yeah.
Yeah. How can someone tell if there's a portal there?
Well, I can tell you what happened with my team, and I got David Pardue is in here in the chat. What's up, David? He's the one that spotted this one, the one that my team saw, and sent the two guys into it. Bob and Tim went into it, and so David was looking through his FLIR. I believe it was a FLIR thermal. Okay.
Okay.
I think it was his FLIR. And let me see. Let me put the comments because he'll probably correct me if I say anything wrong.
I'm only
He'll
asking.
correct me. I better keep an eye on that. Okay.
Well, this
But,
is the reason I asked. I think I may have one at one of my locations.
Okay. Well, let me tell you. Okay, so I'll tell you how they saw it. So you could not see it with your naked eye. It wasn't anything anybody could see with their naked eye. They were all sitting out in the field. It's posted up in different areas of this meadow that we do our research in. And David was just looking through his FLIR. Might have been his thermal. I don't know. I think it was a thermal. And he said that here he is, thermal. It was a thermal. Thank you, David. I'm watching the chat in case I get it wrong. Okay.
Thank you, David.
But he said that he was just looking through his thermal and he saw what looked like a big old square, like a cube in the middle of the field. This is him right here, Carolina Cryptid Field Research.
Okay.
And he said that he saw it and it was just like a gigantic cube and it had like almost like a door or windows on it, something really wild, right? And so he had Terry look at it, and then they had Kristen look at it through her device, and they thought, well, that's so weird. Let's just send people over to it. And it was only visible in the thermal. Okay, you couldn't see it otherwise. And so they sent the two guys over there, and they checked it out, and they disappeared when they got up to it. And that's what the video is. Kristen turned her video on as they walked over to it and got the footage. But yeah, you couldn't see it with your bare eye.
Well, I got thermal and I got night vision, so I'm going to check into that now.
Be sure you carry that out there with you. Yeah, but I mean, some people have said, and one of my good friend Tim, who has passed away now, he is one of the guys who was sent over to go check we call it the portal out.
Yeah.
It could have been anything, but the team calls it the portal because the environment changed when they walked up to it. Could have been a spacecraft, for all I know. Could have been anything. I do know portals exist, so I've remote viewed them. Barry, what's up, Barry? I see Barry in the chat. Barry's giving me some blind coordinate remote viewing targets of weaponized portals, and I know they exist. And but it like I said, it could have been anything. And Tim actually had an incident where he had another portal experience, and it was at another location that we researched, and the same thing kind of happened to him where the environment changed, everything around him, and one of our other teammates was with him when this happened, and it clearly was just like an energetic shift, and the environment changed, and they were able to come out of it. But imagine if they hadn't come out of it. I think a lot of these missing people, maybe they just wandered into something that they didn't know they were wandering into, and that's how they disappeared. So be careful, Greg.
Oh, I will. You know me.
Yeah, pay attention to your surroundings, because when something shifts, and that's something that with the remote viewing training that I've done, it's important that we recognize energetic shifts when we're out in the woods.
Oh, when I think something's funky going on, wait, this don't look like it did a moment ago, I'll back up.
Yes, yeah, definitely back up, back out of there. Okay, that's what our two teammates did to get out of what they were in. They backed out of it, and they're highly trained. They're like you. They're veterans, military veterans, both of them, and trained in remote viewing as well, and were very aware of their surroundings. And they knew when your gut tells you something's off, Greg, something's off.
Oh yeah, I know. Trust me.
Off. Yeah, for sure. So, but that's how you know. I mean, some people say that you see a difference, like it's almost like blurred out, or there's like a circle, or something's different.
What happened to me is I was walking this place, and it was overcast sky, so it was kind of dark, but not nighttime dark.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I keep walking, it just brightens up.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna back up a minute. This don't look right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I've encountered a whole lot of weird stuff out in the field myself, and including a lot of orbs. Now, do you get a lot of orbs out there? Have you ever seen anything weird like that?
I can't say that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not looking for them. I'm looking for physical things. Wait,
Yes.
no, my wife has seen orbs in the battlefield. Wait, you're right. I forgot about that one, honey. Yeah, take that back. My wife reminded me of what I did see.
Oh, yeah.
I don't take note of that stuff because, again, I have a firm belief in life. If it's getting aggressive and I can't blast it, I don't muck with it.
If you can't blast it. Oh, my God.
If it's getting aggressive with me or my people I'm hanging with at the time we're doing the investigation and I can't do something to physically protect them, I ain't messing with it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, you know, some of these cryptids actually have a strange way about them, and I call it,
Uh,
our team calls it the X factor. That's what kind of the going phrase is for
yeah,
us. Is
but
like there's an X factor to it.
there's still you have something physical that you if
Yeah,
it like they said in the old movie The Predator, if it bleeds, you can kill it.
that's right.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
I never get in that situation. God, please don't ever put me in that situation. I'll have to kill one of these cryptids.
I know. Well, that's one of the main rules. It's like, you know, you don't shoot. Okay, do not shoot unless something is like your life is you're a
I've had
millimeter
to
from
once
dying.
since I talked to you.
Yeah.
What happened was I was investigating this area where we were told there were some nesting areas,
Okay.
and
For
it was me
Bigfoot.
and my yes, and it was me and my cousin Cindy Hill, who has now joined the team. You'd like her, but she don't have any gun or any firearms or any weapons yet. She's always using whatever I can tag along to let her borrow. But we was checking out the area and we found a nest. It's actually on my YouTube. We cut off so people wouldn't see me firing a firearm because I don't know how YouTube would react with that. I'm probably not good. I don't know. But we cut the video. I told her to get down. I fired off in this direction. Was something that had to be about 10 foot tall, was and about maybe I'd say 6 foot broad, crashing through the trees at us, angry as crap because it was throwing crap at us.
Okay.
And I just did. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, my job is, I brought her out here. I've got to make sure she gets home safe. That time, with any time out with the crew, my job immediately goes to protect the crew.
Right.
So I said, "Cuz, get down," and I fired off 2 shots in that direction.
Okay.
And it stopped. I went and looked, didn't see nothing where I'd hit anything. I think I just scared it off.
Okay.
But I said, let's get back in the truck now, because whatever this is, if it comes back, it is not coming alone.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, you know, that's the thing too, is like with our teams, like, no, I've never been out in the field when anybody's ever fired off a shot. Not one time, ever. And so that's why I'm really hesitant to like get out there sometimes. You know, I'm not gonna say whether I carry a firearm or not. I do in my everyday life. Okay, I do. And so if I do out in the field, it would not be for the Bigfoots. It'd be for the wildlife out there and the feral people and stuff.
Yes.
You know,
That's one day I'm going to
yeah.
investigate feral people in the Smokies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been talking to somebody that I'm trying to get on my show here that lives up in the Smokies that has had some encounters with the feral people up there. So we're gonna get in touch with him. It's a top secret mission I'm on right now to get him on the show. But however, yeah, we're gonna be talking about that pretty soon here. But you know, I've got some trips planned here in the future,
Yeah.
and I'm. So, you know, I'm hesitant to go out with like people that I've never met before. I don't know, or don't have military training or some kind of like extensive training in firearms and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like going out in the field with people like that because, I'm not trying to throw shade at all. Y'all, please, if anybody's watching that's going to be going out in the field with me, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. Okay. But I'm just saying, in general, it's not really safe to go out with people who aren't highly trained in firearms and stuff when you're going Bigfooting. Okay, because especially if you don't have your mind right, Greg?
Yeah, because one, let me explain it this way since you brought up the firearm factor a little more, okay?
Okay.
Know what you're shooting at. Make sure it's not a person trying to mess with you, because then that's a life on you.
Exactly.
And taken from a guy who's been in combat,
yeah.
Every time you take a life, it chips away a part of your own soul, too. I don't care if it's your enemy or not. It's still a life you took.
Right. Yes. We have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. And you don't want to be out there like, you know, because we're all like, you know, posted up, hiding in the woods and stuff. And most of the time, like the team won't know exactly where we are. And, you know, we're just kind of in a general direction. And if somebody were to pull out a gun and start firing, I mean, that's just a disaster waiting to happen right there.
Yeah. Check your fire before you fire.
Yes. Yeah. So anyways.
Not even discharged those 2 shots. I had to make sure me and my cousin got home in one piece. And I knew for 100% fact, if I hadn't, that thing was going to hurt us.
Yes. You got to be careful for sure. And so yeah, well, you guys all made it home, which is wonderful. And let's see, we do have a question from Mark Green. What's up, Mark? He says, has he heard anything from Tate or Marble Hill? Is that near you?
I'm not familiar with those.
Okay.
I'll have to
Tate
look into
and
that.
Marble Hill.
Can you see, since you got your phone there, Tate and Marble Hill. Can you sell for those also, please?
Tate and Marble Hill. We'll find out, Mark. Okay, we'll find out. It's probably up there near Cloudland, I would assume.
I don't know. When I'm in the woods, I'm not gonna lie, I don't pay attention to what the trail names are because I'm too busy enjoying the view and minding my surroundings more than the trail names.
Oh yeah. They're
Hour
looking
and
it up,
30
Mark.
hour and 30 for which one? Tate. Tate is an hour and 39 minutes. Marble Hill.
Okay. So it's about an hour and a half away. Okay, an hour and a half away. So don't know about it. And I'm not familiar with that either. I've not heard of it.
Marble Hill, Georgia?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That's
Well,
one of the benefits of having a very supportive partner who supports you in what you do.
that's really sweet. I can appreciate that for sure. Oh my gosh.
Hour and 45 minutes. Might as well say 2 hours away from me on Marble Hill.
Okay. So you guys, I was going to ask, how far are you from Habersham County? Okay. Habersham is going to be, it's actually more like up 985 going towards like past Gwinnett and like Lake Lanier area. But if you were to cut over straight across the state, you're not super far from there, right?
Is it Habersham?
Habersham County,
Habersham. Yeah.
Habersham. Yeah.
Because that's where another one of these reports that we talked about was from last week. And so here's the thing, my great grandmother who lived in Rome, she and my great aunt, they actually were in Rome. They lived in Habersham. Okay, let me get this straight. They lived in Habersham. They lived in Rome back then. They're both buried in Habersham today. But they lived in Rome, and they had an experience where they were driving down the highway and a light came down over their car. And
Habersham County is 3 hours away.
3. Okay, that's a long way.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that far. That's a long way. But they had the missing time and all that happened over there in Rome too.
So they had lights come over them, and then they had missing time.
Yes, they said that the next thing they remembered after they were driving down the road in Rome at night, they had a light that came down over the car, and the next thing they know, it was hours later, like 1 or 2 hours later, and they were 20 miles down the road in a different county, and they had no idea how they got there.
Holy moly!
That was back in the 1980s. That was around the same time that Dr. Scudder and Joseph Odom were unalived over there. It was around the same time.
Yeah, because they were unalived in 1986, if you want to get exact. I was 2 years old when they were unalived.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how old I was, but yeah, I'm a couple of years older than you, I think. Okay. But nonetheless, okay. So, but yeah,
Hollywood, Georgia, and Turnerville, Georgia, Dogman are real.
That's Scott. He actually is from around Habersham County. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from around there. What's up, Scott? Thank you for being here.
Yeah, but
Georgia brethren.
well, I got everyone who can hear me. If you have any information about Dogman that could help me out, because this is a new one for me, I welcome it. Send me messages, anything you can think that might be useful to me, please.
Okay. Yes. If anybody's got any information, I can't talk. Any information for Greg, y'all send it to him, please. Now, okay, I wanted to ask you about, the name of your group is Backwoods Cryptids. Well, let's talk about Backwoods cults for a minute.
Okay.
And what's going on with the Backwoods cults up there? Have you ever had any interactions with any kind of weird stuff?
Cults up in the battlefield, actually. The same one where Green Eyes is now, where they were performing rituals. And here a while back, I read about this, so I don't know much about it really firsthand, but I just read it. There was something going on in the battlefield, and this guy who was supposed to be like a psychic or something could hear all these shrills and screams coming from the park. And then it would turn out something that had been, I'm not going to give an exact location, because respect for the people who are still possibly buried there, but something had been desecrated. Someone had stolen something from an area of the park that had been buried there for a while.
Ooh. Okay.
And people think it may be a link to this cult that used to go up there and do their practices.
Okay. Well, You know the nickname for Corpsewood Manor, right? That mountain. You know the
No,
nickname?
yes, I do.
Tell the
Devil,
audience.
Devil Worshippers Mountain.
Exactly. Okay.
I've also called it Hell's Mountain, too.
Hell's Mountain. Okay.
That's from the locals.
Okay. So there's connections here, in my opinion. Okay. To the backwoods cults, secret societies potentially. I was I'm kind of poking around a little bit here because I
Yeah.
have a good friend of mine who I did mention on last week's show. Her name is Bryce, and she went to school. And I'm not going to say the name of it. Please don't say the name of it out loud. You're going to know it's a private school in Rome. Okay. And she went there when she was in grade school. And
Actually, I don't know the name of it.
okay, well, good. We're not going to mention. I'll tell you off air. Okay,
Cool.
but people could figure it out. But it's in Rome, and she experienced satanic ritual abuse at that school, and a lot of the children that went to that school, she said, did, and there's some kind of weirdness about Rome. I mean, that's the city. To me, I think it's just really odd. And so
I'll have to agree with you. There is something weird about Rome. I
There's
had a
something
cousin
very
who
weird.
lived down there, and we can't find him. It's like he just dropped off the face of the earth.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into more detail than that because that's my family's personal business right now to figure out what happened. But that's as far as I'm going into it.
Okay. Scott says Cloudland Canyon has a lot of devil ceremonies on equinoxes. You must have got here late, dude, Scott, because we were just talking about that earlier. We were talking about the Cloudland Canyon, actually, and that's yeah.
Scott, since you got here late from looks of it, I'm going to tell you I'm 30 minutes from Cloudland Canyon, if that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, Cloudland Canyon. Okay, so I think if I'm thinking about this correctly, if I'm remembering correctly, my mother used to live there when she was a kid, or they had a cabin there or something. It seems like they had a cabin there, and she said that when she was little, they were out wandering the woods one night, and they walked up to a cabin window. They walked up to the cabin window. I think this is in Cloudland, pretty sure. And there was a little girl named Mary something. She had gone missing. Mary, what was her name? She had gone missing. If anybody knows in the chat, y'all let us know.
This was back in the 80s, right?
No, this is back in, it had to been the 60s or so. I don't know.
Oh.
And but there was a little girl who had gone missing, and I don't know if they ever found her or not. But they had said that there was an old typewriter in this cabin, and they look, or maybe it was a TV. I can't remember. Because they had. Okay, I'm getting the stories confused because my mom said
I thought it was the radio. I've heard something about the missing girl. I thought it was a radio in some of these cabins, mostly.
Okay. Well, it seems like, okay, so I remember my mom saying that when they'd wake up in the middle of the night and this typewriter would be like typing by itself at night. That was one of the stories that happened. And then there was another story where they had, they looked through the window and like the TV cut on, and it was that little girl, was it Mary Fagan or something? I don't know. I can't remember her name. That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does. By the way, my wife just checked. I'm only 21 minutes from Cloudland.
Okay, you're close, super close.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of setting the stage for this being a very dense area of high strangeness, y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
the way I figure it, okay, we've all heard about that Bermuda Triangle, right? And then, of course, the Alaskan Triangle. I think we have one right here in Georgia, and I think me and you are in the triangle.
Yes, probably. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of these weird triangles, actually. I was talking about there's like...
My wife found the little girl on her name. Mary Little.
Little, that was her name. What, Mary Little? Is that what you just said?
Well, it disappeared in Atlanta.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she's found the wrong one.
I don't know.
She's trying to help us. I love this woman to death. She tries to help just mention something. She's looking up for us.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Kelsey. We appreciate that. She's doing on the spot research for us here during the show.
She does. She does all my research for me. Because again, I work a lot. I'm working at a cart mill, and then I've been working as a delivery pizza guy.
Nice, man. You're busy. Thank you for taking the time out to hang out with us tonight.
I'm off for one job for a while, so.
Hey, when you're out delivering pizzas, you can be looking for dogmen crossing the road.
Yeah, I've
Bigfoot.
actually had reports of. It was actually the day of the Green Ice Festival last year. Someone literally called me and asked me to come check out some weird footprints on their property, right there in Chickamauga.
Oh, they did.
Yes, that's as far. I'm not going to give their name or the location of Chickamauga, what part of Chickamauga they're in. All I can say is they had something going on because I found scratch marks on their chicken house too, where they tried to eat their chickens.
Really? Oh my gosh. So more scratch marks. Lots of scratch marks out there. I wonder what's scratching those.
I don't know. They ripped the door off of the. You could see the hinges that were still on the door, and it was ripped off.
Oh my gosh. You know what? That actually reminds me of the story of the Elkins Creek Bigfoot down there in Middle Georgia, where I do some of my research in that area.
Elkins Creek's the first casting ever in Georgia.
That's right. That's right. That's where they have the Molina Bigfoot Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been speaking. I think I've spoken at that at like 3 years in a row now.
I grew up in Calhoun. Yeah, Calhoun's not that far from Dalton ever. Not that far from Dalton either there, Eric. So you're pretty close to where all these werewolves are. Aaron, sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron. Okay, yeah, Calhoun is up in North Georgia too.
It's right there near Dalton too. It's just a little bit below Dalton. It's literally just right there almost. But so you're not far from Aaron from where all these werewolves are.
Yes. I mean, okay, Greg, what do you think is the cause of all these werewolves and these dogmen? What do you think is the attraction? Do you think they've always been there, or do you think this is something new to the area?
It's hard to say, because I look at it like this. To think we as humans have discovered everything this planet has on it makes us the most arrogant sons of guns on the planet.
Yeah.
We're okay. Let's look at the Bible for an example. A lot of times people think, "Oh, it's a story," but now we have evidence of where possibly the ark had landed after the flood. And the size of that thing, there was a lot of animals on that thing. It even says in the Bible, two of everything. We don't know every animal that was on that ark. We think we do because we're that arrogant.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, do you think there could have been werewolves and Bigfoots on that ark too? Maybe.
Yeah, I do, because if you think of, let's go back, but again, obviously, if you have carnivores and what they usually use as prey, but it says back in the Bible that there were plants that all animals could live off as plant specified for them to live off of. That animals wasn't killing each other for food.
Yeah.
So that means they had some kind of plant that, like the lions, the wolves, the dogman, all of them could eat. That way, they wouldn't have to kill the other animals. Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting point, for sure. Thorley and Clodagh. Okay, sorry if I said your name wrong. Wonder if Old Green Eyes is a hobgoblin or similar.
I'll tell you what. Since y'all wanting to bring that up on there, please contact me on my Facebook, Greg Smith, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah. Being a hobgoblin? Now, what is a hobgoblin exactly? Is that just like a goblin, I guess?
I don't know. That's one of my questions I was going to ask them.
I know, right? I think a hobgoblin would just be like a goblin, or, I think it's something way more sinister than a hobgoblin, personally. That's what I think. And, so there's a very heavy Native American presence there on that property, on that region right there. And they had stories of Old Green Eyes, but they didn't call it Old Green Eyes, going back centuries before the Old Green Eyes.
I've still not found what they called it directly. I'm still researching the Cherokee stories for that. I got a buddy of mine who's going to try to help me with that, because he has Cherokee root. I mean, one of his grandparents or something like that, or uncle or something like that, was a medicine man. So he's trying to help me dig into the lore of Cherokee more to see what they may have called Old Green Eyes.
Oh, yeah. I would be very interested to hear about that, because we had William Nighthawk was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here or not, but he was here, and he's a Lakota medicine man and a good friend of mine. And he's told us about how the Native Americans would put curses or blessings on the land, and that's why a lot of these cryptids and entities are roaming the lands out there, because they're protecting the land, okay, at all costs. And so I don't know. I got to tell you something really weird. Okay. When I did that whole like remote viewing target of old green eyes, I was picking up on some kind of weird, this is going to sound so weird, galactic body part trader or something. It was like a body parts trader. I know that sounds so weird. It makes no sense, right? But that was like some of my
Our
data.
lives are where we chase creatures. Hello.
It was just weird. I mean, I have to say it because that was in my data for that. And I don't know. I mean, I've had people that have, I've had on my shows saying they've been part of the secret space programs and stuff, talking about body part trading. And you hear about like alien abductions. And I did a show on the Dulce base. Okay, Dulce, I think it's in New Mexico, I'm pretty sure. It's like a secret base where they have a lot of animal human hybrid experimentation and just it's just a house of horrors. Basically, they have a place called Nightmare Hall, I think. But there's vats of like human body parts and stuff. They say, I don't know, could there be a connection to that and old green eyes?
I mean, that's possible. I mean, a good friend of mine, Ken Roper, he's my go-to guy when it comes to Dogman information. If you ever could get him on the show about that stuff,
I would love to. Yeah.
He's on my friends list. You can find him. He'll talk your head off like I do, so he's a good old Southern boy like me. But he says that the Dogmen are actually government experiments that they had released, and now they can't round them back up.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they had them put out there, the ones they trained, put out there to smarten up the wild ones.
I've heard that too, actually. Okay, that's actually something that I have heard. Also, I've talked about that. The whole there was a video on Israeli news. I bring this up a lot, and it's just because it's connected to so much that we talk about. And that's the reason I'll keep bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about how a three-letter agency had gone before Congress to ask for the funding to close down a project they've been working on for decades. It was on human animal super soldier projects where they were like making super soldiers with like bear, lion, and wolf DNA. Yeah. And so some of those subjects, such as test subjects, I think the story went that they had been put in pairs all over the world and dropped off. And like, that's where they dropped off a couple over in East Tennessee. And there was like some satanic background to that too, unfortunately, and some kind of like black magic.
You're talking about is a combination of occultist magic and science.
Yes, and so that's why I'm asking like about the whole backwoods cults aspect of that area up there too, because it seems as though there's a lot more cultish activity going on than we could ever understand, and that includes secret societies.
Well, I haven't had much on any of those kind of things yet. I'm sure if I keep digging and running my mouth enough, they might come knocking. But you know what? When they do, depending on their demeanor, I'm going to invite them in for a cup of coffee, or I'm going to tell them to get the heck off my land.
Yeah, get out of here. Get on, get. Yes. Well, it's just, we have to kind of factor all this in, okay, to these sightings, these reports, and all that. And for someone who does boots on the ground field research up there, I know you've had a lot of experience with everything up there. And you told me, didn't you tell me that you have like, people that like actually work at the Chickamauga battlefield potentially? What is it called?
Yes,
and,
okay. It was one of my family members who had worked up there, and he told us they'd have those big dinners and everything. I'd get to go with them.
Okay.
And so I know most of the folks who work in the park now.
Awesome. Well, okay, I want to ask you something that's kind of sensitive, and it's kind of terrible, but like I've heard that people actually I can't say the word, I shouldn't say the word, but like let's just say take their lives on the battlefield to this day.
Yes,
is that true?
Yes, my grandmother actually knew one of the women who jumped from the top of Wilder Tower. They worked together at the local grocery store when we had a shop right out here.
Really? That's just terrible. Is that, I mean, I hate to ask you, like, what is your opinion on that? Like, why do you think people are doing that out there?
Well,
On
I'll
that?
go ahead and give
How
you
do they
my
go
personal.
there?
I'm gonna get real personal with you here for a minute, and I hope I don't offend nobody. When I first came home, I wasn't doing so good in the head, and I thought about taking my own life. And guess where I was going to go? To the
Oh
battlefield.
wow! My goodness,
You know
was
about
that
this? I look shocked.
was that like your? It's almost like people are drawn there to go do that though. Like
Well,
it's
for
just
me, it's because there's one spot in there. I ain't gonna go into full detail, but let's just say that it's a perfect place to sit down, gather yourself thoughts, and that creek goes right by there. And it's more of a peaceful place. Like, hey, this is why I want to be looking at before I die. Nice.
oh, so it's just beautiful there and peaceful. And wow, I'm so sorry you went through that, Greg. I'm very sorry, and my heart
Everything I
goes
go
out to you.
through, whether the good or the bad, has built me to the man I am today. So I don't regret none of it. I'm still here.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here, Greg. We need
Me
you.
too.
This world needs you.
Yes, it does.
You hear her
Yeah,
over here, don't you?
yeah, for sure. It's just it's a beautiful place, but it's also a place of a lot of tragedy and a lot of sadness, and the energy has got to be really powerful over there in so many
Yeah, it
different ways.
does. Now here's the part that she already knows about. The only reason I didn't, because I had, I won't go into. Okay, if I trigger anybody, I'm going to apologize now. But I had already had the hammer pulled back and was pulling the trigger when someone stopped me.
Oh my gosh.
They caught the hammer. It was a revolver type pistol. They caught it right here. When I asked them how they found, they took me to get me some help. First off, so thank you to them. Shout out to them. I'm not going to give names because they don't want the credit for this. But I asked them how did they find me when I'm so dang deep in the woods of the battlefield. I mean, I was off trail.
Wow.
They said. Now, they really did not believe in the afterlife of ghosts. You know, I believe in heaven and hell, but I didn't believe in ghosts till this point. This is what made me believe in ghost possibilities.
Oh,
Remember I told you I had that buddy of mine that didn't come home?
yes.
He was a surfer boy, bleach blonde son of a gun with that perfect cut like the old square top.
Yeah.
That's who led them to me.
Really? Did they tell you that?
Yes. They
No
saw
way.
a person in a military uniform, bleach blonde haircut, like the square top haircut, and that I had his rosary with me that went at this time too. It was in my pocket.
Oh my goodness. Craig,
So
that's
yeah, I believe in
amazing.
ghosts after that story.
Yeah. Well, you were holding on to his legacy, and you were a dear friend to him. That, oh my gosh. Wow. You've not told me the story before. I didn't know about this. Well, I am so grateful that he was there to help you. And my goodness, if that doesn't teach you, there
You
is
know about
there
that.
is life beyond this life. And you
And
obviously have a bigger purpose. You have a big old purpose to be here, Greg. Okay,
I will say
you're
this.
important. You're
I will
special.
also say this,
Okay.
considering that story, just because your loved ones aren't here physically, they're still watching over you spiritually.
Amen. That's right. Absolutely. Um, and wow, I mean, that was on the battlefield. Okay, that's on the
Yeah.
battlefield. And you and him had been in combat together.
Yes.
And oh my goodness, I bet there were so many factors involved in that to save you from doing that day, Greg. My goodness.
I'm okay. She's getting over her work because she don't like to be
Oh,
talked about that.
I'm so sorry. I
But
am so
it's
sorry.
something that had to be explained to explain the weirdness in the battlefield.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, so,
Because
but so many.
he's never been to this part of the country
Really.
in person.
Wow.
Now
Wow.
explain that. I dare someone to explain that one.
Exactly. Well, a lot of people. I don't know the number. I have no idea what the number is, but a lot of people have gone there, and they haven't had anybody that stopped them from doing that. And there's been multiple people who go there regularly, on the regular, from what I understand,
Yeah,
to
unfortunately.
go take their lives there. And so
Yeah.
man, that's is quite tragic. But I'm glad you're here, Greg. I'm glad your friend was there to help you and to stop it. Okay.
I'm
Oh
glad
my
my
gosh.
buddy's in the afterlife. Where we at, bud? You let them to me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, I know someone else who had an incident. I'm not going to get into detail about it at all. But he had actually gone up to the mountains to go do what you were going to do. And what happened was it ended up being a Bigfoot screamed right as he was about to do it. And that's how he got into kind of getting into Bigfoot, and it changed his life. He didn't do it. And it was because a Bigfoot had screamed and gotten his attention off of it. Okay, so these things do happen. These things do happen, and you're living proof of it.
I'm
Yeah.
proof.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, God has a plan, and sometimes it involves cryptids and ghosts, y'all. Sometimes cryptids and ghosts will step in, and it's man, it's a miracle. Oh my gosh. On the eve of Easter, y'all, we're talking about this stuff right now. And
Well, I
that's
figured
amazing.
that would be a good, appropriate time for me to share that story publicly.
Well, thank you, Greg. Thank you for sharing that with us, because that can help people.
Yeah. And I want to say this now to anyone out there who's feeling some kind of way about harming themselves. You may not know me, but reach out to me. I will talk to you. I will do my best to help you. I've been to that point. I've been to that darkness. Let me help you get back to the light.
Yes, that is very kind of you, Greg. And yes, and so we were talking about before the show. You got to know darkness to know the light, or that was actually during the show, I guess, too. And you got to know the darkness to know the light. And sometimes things like this get us on the path to explore more and to figure out the mysteries of life, because that's what got me on the path of getting into the paranormals when my brother died. Okay. And a bunch of my best friends had passed away. I had a friend who had taken his own life too. Okay. So that got me into doing what I do today. Hey, Kelsey. And you're so sweet. But that does get a lot of us on kind of starts our journey with the paranormal and the supernatural and the cryptids. And it stems from trauma. Actually, a lot of it does stem from trauma of some way.
Yep.
And
How about for that?
Yeah, it does. My friend, I was talking with Katie Page one day. Katie's the head of MUFON out of Colorado, and she goes out with my team sometimes out in the meadow. And we were talking about that one day. She was like, I think there's a connection between trauma and paranormal experiences and experiences with ETs and cryptids and all that. Most people have experienced a lot of trauma or some kind of trauma in their lives like that. And there's I'm going to say there's a definite connection there. Okay. And if you don't have a lot of trauma and you see a Bigfoot, you're going to have trauma. Okay. Especially if you're not like expecting to see it. Right?
See, that's her response.
Yeah. She said, yeah. Yeah.
Nightmares.
For her, it was nightmare the first time she saw one.
I bet a lot of people, that's why I love doing these shows, because we're able to be like a support group. And if you look in the chat, a lot of the people in the chat who are in the live chats, they've had experiences like we have too. And we're all just trying to figure these things out. And Third Eye Tribe said, why trauma-based programming works. Yes, that's how. And the trauma is also how people are more easily, it does have an element of the mind control in there. Absolutely. That's how they do the MK Ultra, is through trauma. That's why they're always, when you turn on the news, it's all fear, fear, fear. Trauma.
Well, I want to touch on that since you brought the news. They're trying to stuff fear in there all the time.
Yeah.
I want to go up into a little bit of a conspiracy theory here with you.
Okay.
They're pumping us full of fear, keeping us at each other's throats, because if we as a whole country realize how bad the government's messing us over,
yes.
What do you think would happen?
Well, we're seeing it right now. Actually, we're seeing it. There's a lot of disclosure going on right now, and so lucky for us, most people here that are listening to the show and watching the show right now, we are ahead of the curve. Okay, we already know. We've all caught on to all the deception and stuff, but the general public, they're in for a ride, aren't they?
Oh,
They're in for
buckle
a
up.
ride.
Buckle up. It's going to get bumpy.
What do you think about disclosure with the cryptids? Do you think that the government's ever going to come out and admit that there are cryptids and
I highly doubt
demonic entities out there?
I highly doubt they're going to do that because, for one thing, you got to factor in the human factor. What would the normal, everyday person who don't believe in none of this do if they all of a sudden found out it was real? They'd lose their minds. Suicide rates will go up. Murder rates will go up. Crime rate will go up. Skyrocket. That's why the government keeps a lid on some of this stuff.
Yes. Well, they actually just came out this week with talking about, I think the president is going to be disclosing, I think he has disclosed that we do have time travel capabilities, and we are able to bend space and time and maybe travel through portals and things like that. That's all coming out right now. It's all coming.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Philadelphia experiment. That started that, possibly.
Yeah, it could. Well, here we go with the whole cryptids too. You know, I believe that they're able to access portals and travel and bend time and all sorts of whatever they want to do, they can do. And I think that humans have had that capability as well, but we have been lied to. It has been hidden from us.
That was all my theory of the Bigfoot, especially. Put it this way: we're all two creatures on the exact side-by-side evolutionary path. Humans, Bigfoot. We used to go up and up and up, and then we split off toward technology, all this. They split off toward nature. So we forgot everything we had at one point in our lives because we went more relying on technology.
Yeah. Well, we've had technology that replaces our human nature, like the things that we're like telepathy, for instance. What do we have? A telephone. Instead of telepathy, we use telephones. Okay?
Exactly. That's a perfect example right there. How we know Bigfoot might be, Bigfoot said to have telepathic abilities. Come on, mind speaking. And if they can speak to you through your mind, who'd say they can't read your mind?
They can read your mind. I mean, they're actually coming out now talking about the psionics with the UFOs and how there are people who are trained. And I'm trained in the military style of remote viewing, and it's all about mind control. And it's amazing what our little minds can do. Okay. And they're talking about how ET crafts are controlled by mind control. Okay. Tune it in with your mind and stuff. And they're living vessels and stuff. I mean, it is really wild what's coming out right now. And it is time for full disclosure.
I agree. But I also would ask the public, don't overreact. Take it in stride. Because you've known about it, you just didn't realize you knew about it.
Yeah. Well, we all know about it. Yes, we're learning. Everybody that's watching this show right now at this moment is listening. We all know about it. Kent says we are the leaders of the future. Yes, we are. We're on the front lines. Okay, we're on the front lines of disclosure. You know, and you've been doing this for a long time, Greg. You've been out there getting out in the woods for the past few years. You know, looking for tracks and knowing that Bigfoot's out there. I mean, I commend you for being a old green eyes researcher, because that is really unknown. I mean, we really don't know what that is. It's one of the scarier cryptids, if you ask me, out of Georgia.
I'll have to agree with you on that one, because there's some, like you said, we don't know what it is. We just know it's there.
Yeah, exactly. I tend to think it's more of a gugway, probably, or some sort of a weird ancient entity that's able to. I mean, a gugway could be an ancient entity, right? But
I mean, like I said, most of these the creatures we talk about are animalistic, or some type of animal. And if you read the Bible, look back in Genesis. God made animals before He made people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some say that Bigfoots are half people. What do you think? What do you think about that? Do you think it could be a part? Because the DNA studies that Melba Ketchum was doing was saying that like the maternal side is human.
I could see why, because if you want to go with science, I'll go with what the Bible says of how we got here. We didn't evolve from apes. That's just my personal opinion. You all believe what y'all want to believe on that.
Yeah.
But scientifically speaking, we are close related to different, not just apes, but other animals. I mean, come on, why do you think they use a pig heart when you need a heart valve?
Yeah. Well, you're talking about pigs. Pigs, they say pigs are actually half human.
Exactly, but that just
You,
goes back to the point you're talking about them being possibly more related to us
half
than we know.
human. Yeah.
Exactly, because if we can use a pig valve to replace our bad one, who's to say the Bigfoot can't work the same way?
Oh my gosh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we live in a wild universe, don't we? It's very weird. And yeah, have a hard time eating. I'm gonna say I have a hard time eating bacon, but no, I don't. I still like bacon.
I had that on my burger earlier today.
It is hard. It is a little bit harder. There is some hesitation when I go to eat bacon now, though. There is, and there have been times where like it's just kind of gross. And I don't want to eat it. But
it's so
thinking
yummy.
about that, it is yummy. But not to get into like cannibalism. I mean that would mean that we are actually cannibals in that case, though, right?
A small, slight sense of the word, yes. I mean, if you have to bend it in half and almost break the definition of a cannibal. But yeah, you're kind of right.
Yeah, it's really sad and gross to think about. And I hate that.
Yeah, and I've seen a cannibal in real life when I was working in a jail.
You did?
Yeah,
well,
he was in a lockup and he was by himself. And he was in lockup because of his behavior, and he started biting and eating parts of his own arm, saying he was hungry.
Oh, well, that's sad.
I think we've had him locked into a daggone mental facility where we can get this man some proper help.
Yeah, it's really sad. That's really sad. That there's even going back. I might have mentioned this on the show before a long time ago, talking about my great grandfather who was in the Civil War. Speaking of the battlefield at Chickamauga, he was ended up being a POW during the Civil War. All of my great grandfathers were all in the Civil War. They all fought, and two of them lost their legs actually, and one of them got sent up to a POW camp in New York or Pennsylvania or somewhere, and they were all starved to death basically. And when he finally made it home years later, he came home with bite marks all over his scars, all over his body, where they were all cannibalizing each other. And yeah, so yeah, he was. They tried to eat on him. Okay, and so it's just that's one of the really sad parts of war.
Yeah, and it's sad for humanity because you've heard stories. I'm sure all over the internet where people were stuck in a situation where they couldn't get out, like they were trapped by an avalanche or a snowstorm, and they started cannibalizing each other, trying to survive.
Yeah.
But that's why the government may not be telling us everything, because when it gets down to it, some humans will revert to that savagery nature that is unfortunately in all of us.
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, who was that? We're talking about butt meat. Somebody said that. I don't know if it was it Barry? Barry's in the chat. I don't remember who it was, but somebody was asking me about the movie Alive, and would I actually eat would I eat a person if I had to? Like if somebody died? No, I'd rather starve to death. Honestly, I don't care enough.
Fun fact
I just don't think I would. I don't think I could ever do that.
They actually talked about cannibalism on the movie, one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene where Will is trying to find Jack on the second one, and this guy talking about he ate some long pork. The people that long pork is humans.
I've heard that. Gosh,
I've researched after I heard this little story. I'm like, oh my God, it's true.
Ew. Well, we do have old green eye. Okay, so let's make it full circle here, because that's kind of gross. We're talking about.
We go down the rabbit hole every time I get on here, don't we?
We were talking about old green eyes. No, we just it's fun. It's all interesting. But we're talking about old green eyes. Like Barry's in the chat. I had done that remote viewing target on old green eyes, and Barry was with me, and that was a rough show for me and Barry to get through that day. But that does involve what could potentially be like a cannibal. Whatever it is out there eating the corpses of those dead soldiers.
If you ever get a chance to pull up that episode, can you send me a link to that specific episode?
Yes. Which are you talking to me?
Yeah, the green eyes, the remote viewing of green eyes.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, I can even put it on.
I want to add that to my research. I'm gonna watch that and add that stuff to my notes if you don't mind. My personal notebook.
Absolutely.
I literally have a personal notebook just for green eyes research.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that it's really cool to be able to take a different approach to the research, looking into it psychically and getting these blind targets and
Yeah, I mean that's why I would like to work with you sometime. You bring in the metaphysical aspect of the research. I'll bring in the physical aspect of the research. Who knows what we'll find?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Well, I'm always down to hang out and talk with, talk Bigfoot and talk these weird cryptids with other field researchers like yourself. And I think just us sitting here having these weird, crazy conversations I think it helps. I think it helps the collective consciousness, of all of us trying to figure these things out.
Because it might actually get more people to open up. Like, hey, these people are actually legit. They're serious. Maybe we'll think I'm nuts.
Mostly serious. What do you mean by serious? I'm just kidding.
In other words, they know they're not going to think. Look at they're going to think I'm crazy if I tell them about this. No, look at how they're talking on there. They're going to listen to you.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Sovereign Cosmic Mothman. This is in all caps, so I just saw this one. Anyone heard about the millions of people vanishing like in China? Deaths, abductions.
I heard something about that. It's like a rapture situation. But that was proving to be a publicity thing for a movie on part of it. Part of that was publicity for a movie they were doing over there.
Okay. Like velociraptors?
No. The people who disappeared, like on the bus and they just gone. That was part of a leaked movie.
Oh, okay.
That part was. I'm not saying all of them was that way. I'm just saying that one little part.
Okay. What was that? There was a TV show that was really good. It had was it James Blake, that song that I really liked. And it was almost like a rapture. All the people were smoking cigarettes during that. What was that show called? They all wore white.
I used to call it Cinemax. Just call it Cinemax.
I can't remember the name of it. Somebody in the chat will know. But they had all those people it was almost like the rapture. People went missing.
And they didn't talk. They didn't speak.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. But they smoked cigarettes. Well, now they're coming out with like nicotine. Talking about nicotine now, and I am not giving medical advice, but I get articles. A friend of mine sends me articles every day on the benefits of nicotine. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm serious.
No, I'm laughing because kind of says before, a guy who uses nicotine. I use the cigarettes. And I use these little nicotine pouches at work because they don't allow smoking on the carpet mill. Nicotine is bad for you.
Cigarettes are bad for you. Nicotine is not. I think that's what they're saying. That's the word on the street.
Okay.
They're saying in the patches. That's what I've been reading. I have a friend that sends me this every single day. Sends me information about it. I'm not saying the cigarette, y'all. I am not saying.
No.
Yes, thank you, Kent.
No. Don't be like me.
I'm just saying this is not medical advice. I don't know exactly. It's just the articles.
Okay, here's a good thing. Kent Baxter?
Kent Baxter. That's right. Thank you, Kent. He says nicotine is great. This is a comment. He says nicotine is great. 1,000 other additives are not. That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it does.
Send me one of these things where your friend's saying about the nicotine being a good thing, because now you got my interest peaked. And this is the first today. You saying that is the first time I've heard that nicotine is a good thing.
I don't know. I'm like I said, we're not giving medical advice. We are not medical professionals.
No, we are not. I'm far from a medical professional. Far from it. We
chase Bigfoot, y'all. We don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I am telling you that I have been getting a lot of articles. I've been reading. I'm not saying I've been forced to read it all. Okay, but shout out to my friend who keeps sending me that stuff. I love you. Thank you.
Share that with me too, because now you got my interest peaked. This is the first I've ever heard of it.
Yeah, I kind of don't have a choice. I see these articles every single day. Okay, so y'all look into it. Y'all do your own research on it.
Oh, I'm going to now.
Smoke is bad, though. Don't smoke, y'all, if you can't. Okay, Greg, smoke is bad.
Oh, I know. How many times do I tell you? Heard me just tonight telling kids not to start this.
You did. It's for entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Angelique. I appreciate that so much. But the chemicals are rough. But nonetheless, listen, y'all. Greg goes out and chases monsters for fun in the woods. He can do whatever the hell he wants, y'all. Okay. Right, Greg? You can do whatever you want. You do.
Yeah,
I do
as
what I
long as I
want.
don't take bad example for my younger viewers.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We know they know better, and yeah, it is for entertainment purposes only, for sure. Man, this has been a really fun show tonight, Greg. And I know it's Easter, and I know the Easter Bunny's coming tonight, hopefully, over here at my house. And so I can't stay up too late. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
go get my
You got-
kid to bed tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Good luck getting them off that PS5.
Oh, he will. If he knows the Easter Bunny's coming, he'll get off. He'll get off that.
And again, just another announcement for anyone viewing late that might be still expecting the Easter Bunny and you're looking for like candy. Brush your teeth, and you're gonna look like this.
God, Greg, you are so wild. You are wild. You're a wild child, man. I hope that you and Kelsey have a wonderful Easter tomorrow, and thank you so much for all your service, your service to our country. I am just really blessed to have you here tonight, and I want to tell you how glad I am that you had intervention over at that battlefield, and you're here today. Okay, it means the world to all of us. You're a blessing to the world. Okay, and to me and to everybody watching today as well. Okay, and to the cryptid community. So thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate you.
I'm happy to do it, and again, I'm coming on any show. Yours, Star Fox. It's always fun for me because you never know what rabbit hole I'm going down.
I know, Greg. I don't know where you're going. You know what? Nobody knows where I'm going either. We're just here to have some fun. We're here to have fun.
Yeah, we're here to share information, share stories, share info, and get the word out.
Get the word out. Yes. Speaking of getting the word out, tell the audience about your YouTube channel and any kind of events. I know you participate in the Old Green Ice Festival. Let's talk about it. Before we go tonight. What are you going on?
What I did there is they had me working the bus as the tour guide. I'm not doing that again this year. They've already got someone who actually knows more of the history, not the Green Ice part, but the actual history of the park. Going to that this time. But I did tell them if they anything I can do to help out, let me know. I'm happy to give my time for my local community, especially considering it's a cryptid.
Yeah.
But,
hey, you're the perfect person to go and give tours over there. I hope to get my own tour one day by you and Kelsey.
Yeah.
Oh, heck, if you come down here, I promise you I will be your personal tour guide.
Thank you. Y'all better be. Okay, we'll plan on it. I'll bring my kid. We'll come up there.
Heck yeah. Hey, we'll even get a picnic lunch going. How about that?
We'll do it. I'll bring some stuff. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be speaking here at the Bigfoot campground with Michael James.
Michael James. He's been on my show at Space Out Radio. Yeah.
Oh, he's been on your show too? Okay, cool.
He has, over on Space Out Radio, yes.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be...
Forest of Monsters, y'all.
Yes, Forest of Monsters. Go check him out. This dude is actually, he knows what he's doing. He knows his stuff. He's very enthusiastic. And he literally takes his time. He is meticulous of everything he does.
Oh, yeah. He's a very nice fella, for sure.
Yeah,
very excited about being in the woods and stuff. He's got a video. I was joking around about him on my show because I was watching all his videos, and he had a video. I was like, how did YouTube keep this up here? He's like dressing a squirrel, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
I was like, how is that still on? That's amazing. Everybody needs to know how to dress. I hate to say that Kenny has a pet squirrel, so we need to be careful about what we say.
Yeah.
Well,
Kenny, first of all, yeah, but I know how to dress one. I mean, come on, I'm a hunter.
Those are basic skills, y'all. I mean, everybody should know how to dress an animal if you have to.
Yeah.
Okay?
If you're going out in the woods, you're going to be out there for an extended time. At least know the basic skills.
Yeah. And I don't mean putting clothes on it.
No, that is not what that means. I'm not going to go into detail what that means because we may have younger viewers watching this now or later.
Yeah, that's why I said it. That's why I put it that way, dressing it.
But I'm going to be speaking as a guest speaker there, along with Jasper Walls of Bigfoot and Things. Y'all go check him out too. He's also on YouTube and he's on TikTok. And I think he's had some Facebook groups out there too. But check him out. You never know what he's going to talk about. That's why it's called Bigfoot and Things.
Things.
Yeah, I got that country twang. Guess what? I'm proud of that country twang.
Me too. Me too. I say things with the A instead of an I. Okay.
Yeah. You know we're doing it now. But I'm going to be guest speaker. That it is on June 13th through 15th at Thunder Rock Campground.
Is that in Georgia or Tennessee?
That's in Tennessee.
Okay.
You can just look up Thunder Rock Campground. It'll take you right to your Google. It'll take you right to it. That's how I got there the first time I was there.
Chicken fingers. I say chicken fingers. Yes, Andrew. Okay, chicken fingers.
Okay, there's chicken livers. There's chicken livers.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh.
That's like tomato. Anyway.
That sounds fun. That sounds fun. So you guys are going to be up there at the campground, do a Bigfoot camp out up there, and
yeah. There's a few guest speakers. Yeah, I wish you was coming. That'd make it more fun.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I'll try to make it up there. It depends on what I'm doing. Oh, actually, I'm going to be at the Full Disclosure Now conference that week, so I won't be able to make it to that.
Oh well.
I forgot to give a shout out to all the things I'm going to be at too. I have to do that before we go tonight.
Yes, you will. And as for me, y'all can find me on Facebook under my actual name, Greg Smith. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. Those are just things I used to advertise. I don't really do much on there except advertise my YouTube channel, which is Backwoods Cryptids, as you can see right here on the screen.
Oh yeah.
And Jessica, where are you going to be at here? Where are you speaking at for a while?
I got all sorts of things I'm going to be at, y'all. Okay, Greg, I'm going to be, the next thing I'm going to be at, by the way, y'all go subscribe to Backwoods Cryptids on YouTube and on Facebook. You got a group on Facebook too. So
yeah.
Be sure to join that and follow Greg Smith.
Yeah, and if you have to, you just find my actual Facebook. It's going to be more. I get a little more personal on that than I do, but on my group. So I go on rants and raves sometimes if I have to, just to get stuff off my mind on there. So it's not related to my YouTube. I just use it to help me. But how many subscribers I got?
Private, y'all. Just go to their Facebook page, okay? Go to the Facebook page. I don't know, Greg. You're a
right
hoot.
now I'm at. Because right now I'm like one subscriber away. Last time I looked, from having 400 subscribers.
Oh, congratulations! That's amazing.
402 as of right now.
That's good. Y'all, please go subscribe. Let's get him up to more numbers tonight for sure. He's got a great YouTube channel. He does real boots on the ground work, y'all, and he puts it all on his YouTube. So
I show everything on my YouTube. My research, the history of the area itself. Especially with my Pigeon Mountain one, because I didn't know. Did you know Pigeon Mountain used to be a volcano?
No, I did not know that. What?
Yeah.
No.
And she just looked and said my first video. So I've been doing this 5 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that reminds me. If you ever do come up here, I'm gonna have to show you that there's a space we can go to up Pigeon. You can see where it used to be lava formations.
I would love that. And what about lava tubes? I've heard a lot about lava tubes and how cryptids live down in them lava tubes. Okay,
I think lava tubes, caves, and abandoned railroad tunnels. I think because we have one up here on Pigeon, and it's just abandoned. No one uses it no more. Some parts of it are just collapsing. But I think we have cryptids living in that thing. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, back to you. Where are you going to be at? Come on.
Thank you, Greg. That's so sweet of you to remind me. I appreciate that. All right, let me put up my flyers real quick because I will be. You guys, if y'all want to come see me, come over to Myrtle Beach to the Myrtle Beach Bigfoot Festival. That is going to be May 9th and 10th. And
try to say that 3 times fast.
Mike, I know, right? It's tough. Now, Mike Famelot will be there. David Pardue, who's in the chat tonight, he's going to be there. Harley Owens and George Lunsford and Jerry and Robert Effler and all them. Their North Carolina Investigators will be there. Dr. John Stamey, Matt Delph, myself, Mike Famelot. You were just with Mike Famelot, weren't you? Yeah,
I got a picture with him actually on my Facebook. I will say this: if y'all, he has an amazing presentation. If you've never heard him before, I highly recommend going and watching him. And go watch Jessica. She's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, Mike's our northern friend. We like him anyways. I'm just kidding.
He's from Jersey or Georgia.
That's right. That's right. Mike's awesome. He's been on my show too, over on Spaced Out Radio before. And And I did a show with him the other day with Dr. John Stamey. It was fun. So I'll be there. And then also in July, the same weekend, you guys are going to be up in Tennessee. I'm going to be down in St. Petersburg, Florida at the Full Disclosure Now conference, giving a presentation.
While you're in St. Petersburg, go check out this area. I can't remember the name of it. It's right on the Gulf. It's a beautiful, the most beautiful beach I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on. What was the name of that? Something Points. Just look for the bar that says 5 o'clock somewhere. It's in that area.
Okay. There's probably a bunch of those signs down in Florida, I would assume. I'll find it. Well, when you think of it, you hit me up and let me know. Okay.
Definitely. If I can think of the name of it, I'll see it. But if you want to see the most beautiful beach view you've ever seen in the Gulf, that's it.
Okay. Yes, they got some beautiful beaches down there. Well, St. Pete is really nice. And we're going to be down there. It's on the Gulf Coast, actually, which is, it's amazing. Okay. The Serrata Beach Resort, I believe. And so you guys come see us down there. He just added Laura Eisenhower to the list, too. We got Brad Olson and a bunch of people. Brian Sang will be there. Bunch of great speakers are going to be there. A lot of people that I've had on my shows will be down there. So y'all come see me down there. It's going to be a fun time. And I have a discount code. Oh my God, I forgot to pull the discount code up. But don't get your tickets until you do my discount code, y'all. Please put in your discount code. You need it if you're going to come see me. Okay?
Now,
it's on my social media.
Well, also, one thing I am started doing some research, like I said, on the Moon-Eyed people. I have some video footage. I've still got to edit everything together. Yes, I do some set videos and segments, and I edit it all together to make an episode. But I promise y'all, nothing's added or taken away. What you see is what you get.
Okay. Awesome. Heck yeah. Okay, I'm trying to get my discount code real quick, y'all. If anybody wants a discount code with the Full Disclosure Now, it is. I'm gonna read it off to you guys. Okay. Here, how about I type it up? It's 2025 FDNC Jessica 17. Okay. Let me see. I'll pull it up.
You need to make a picture of that so you just pop it up on your screen easier, you know?
Yeah. Here, let me do this. I'm going to put it up on the screen, y'all. Hold on one second. What did I just say? 2025 FDNC. Oh my God. I don't know. I'll just put it in the comments down below. How about that? Because I can't see to type right now.
What you need to do is make a little picture. You need to do is make a little picture that you can just pop up. Click there it is.
Yeah. It'll be down there. Okay. I'll put it up. I promise y'all I'll put it up after the show tonight. They got
that discount code now, y'all.
With a link. Okay. There'll be a link to the conference down there as well. So thank you, Greg. God, Greg, this has been so fun. And you never disappoint, man. We always have a great conversation every time you come on. Yeah.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. I love coming on here. I'd love to get to where we and you do an investigation together, at least somewhere,
We will.
Again, you bring in the metaphysical aspect of the investigation, which I don't dabble with that much. I don't dabble with that much, but I can. While you're doing that, I can be out there to get in the physical. We'd make a heck of a team, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'll come up there. I'll bring my kid too. He and you get along real well. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's really fun. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew put it in there. It's the first one right here. It's 2025 FDNC Jessica 17. That's the code right there.
All right, y'all. See that code right there? Get your discount. Get your discount, y'all.
Get your discounts. Yes, right. Okay. And I'll put it down in the comments after the show. Thank you, Andrew. You're the best. I appreciate it. I've got the best mods. We have the best chat on the internet. And it was flying tonight, y'all. It was flying. Thank y'all so much for all the comments tonight and for all the infinite wisdom you guys, all the input and everything y'all add to our shows. It's mind blowing. I appreciate it. And yes, I can't believe I didn't even think about this. I do have Cave Spring water, not too far from where you live, in my cup tonight.
Yeah. I won't say it again because we touched on it with my personal experience. If any of y'all are feeling some kind of way about hurting yourselves, taking your own lives, reach out to me. I'll do my best, everything in my power to help you. I've been to that darkness. Let me bring you back out of it too.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. That is so sweet. And y'all, please, if you're ever in a low place, please reach out to somebody. Please do. Reach out to any of us.
Family,
okay?
Friends, your pastor, your priest, somebody. Yes. Don't face that darkness alone.
That's right. Do not, y'all. And we're all here to just walking each other home, right? And yes, tonight we got, speaking of walking people home, so we got the Easter Bunny showing up here in just a little bit, hopefully.
Uh-oh.
So, yes, Sea-Doo, thank you. Easter
Yeah,
bunny
I
is
think
on
he's
the
running
way.
this way south. I think I just saw him out here.
Uh-oh. We better get to bed, y'all. Everybody better get into bed. Heather, I see your comment here. Yes, I will be in Myrtle Beach, May 9th and 10th. The conference is on the 10th. Come see me, girl. I'd love to see you. Okay. And so we'll be there. It's going to be a fun time. And we're going to be on the beach a little bit out there too. But Greg, thank you so much for being here. Kelsey, thank you. I know you can hear me in the background. Thank you, Kelsey, for being here.
You're welcome.
All right. I love you guys. Y'all are the best. And thank you so much for being here. Please come back and see me again. And we'll do it again. Okay. We'll do it again soon. And everybody, thank y'all so much for being here. I want to thank everybody for all the love and support. And thank you guys for all the super stickers tonight. It means the world to me. I appreciate every one of y'all. And I want to say happy Easter to everybody. Enjoy your day tomorrow. I hope everybody, I hope the Easter Bunny brings y'all some candy. Okay, at least a little candy or something. And y'all find all the eggs and whatever else everybody's doing. I got to get up and cook a casserole in the morning. Man, okay.
Okay, just big nosy. What kind of casserole?
I'm making a hash brown casserole in the morning. That's my signature dish right there.
Oh, I'm coming down there right now.
I'm the hash brown casserole making queen in my family. Okay, I love me some hash brown. I took the Cracker Barrel recipe and I made it my own, y'all. It's good.
Yeah,
so
hey, that's the best way to do it, I think.
with some bacon. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I know. I'm kidding. All right. Oh my gosh, Greg. Well, y'all have a wonderful night. I will be back here on Monday, y'all. And it'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern. So y'all come back and see me. And until then, happy Easter, everybody. And
Happy Easter!
Yeah, we will see y'all next time. All right. Have a good night. Bye, y'all.